This is Betsy Jensen, and you are listening to Unstoppable Body and Mind, episode 45, The Science of Well-Being with Iva. In this podcast, we learn to upgrade our brain and understand the power of our thoughts, to heal and to create the results we want in our life. Become the person in control of your healing and make peace with your life. Become unstoppable, body and mind. All right, everyone, welcome. Today on the show, we have Iva, who is joining me because I saw that she had attended a course virtually through Yale, and it was about well-being and habits that you can form. I'll have her tell more about it. But first I want, Iva, welcome. And
glad to be here.
And could you just tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to taking this course?
Yes, sure. So this kind of came up at the beginning of the pandemic, and there was so much going on. The world was kind of freaking out, and my dad had terminal cancer, and so now we had plane tickets to go see my family, and so there was so many things that I felt like were just going to not work out. And doing the work I do, yoga, and really trying to focus on my mental health and mental health of those I teach and those around me, I wanted to take this time that technically could be a time of stress and depression, despair, uncertainty, definitely, and makes the best of it, right? Like the goal is to make the best of every situation. So I saw that Yale was offering a course called The Science of Well-Being. And there was an option to audit it or to take the certification course. And I thought, well, if I do it, I can as well do the homework. I can as well take the real thing. So I signed up, and it's an online course, basically scientifically proven strategies to improve your quality of life and to improve your happiness.
That's
So
so
it
cool.
was, yeah.
To get
So
accepted to Yale, how does this work?
you want to take it and you want to commit to it for 10 weeks, then you do it.
How many weeks? 10?
10 weeks. Mm-hmm.
10 weeks. Okay.
It's a 10-week course, and it's basically commitment. If you want to commit to the work, and the work was kind of hard in a way, yes, you study and you read research and you watch the lectures from the Professor Santos. She's wonderful. Laurie Santos is amazing. She's a person that I like. She has a podcast too, and
What's her podcast?
The Happiness Podcast. I think that's what it's called.
I feel like I've heard of that.
Yes, she is kind of a big deal in the way that she is a psychology professor at Yale, and there is a whole department of positive psychology, which I'm really interested in, and I was drawn to it, and so the course seemed a logical step for me to take, and I loved
Anything
it.
with science and emotions in the same.
Right. The thing is, I've always been interested in the subject, but I feel there is so much sometimes stereotype attached to it, like a hippie kind of thing, right? But it's right. I'm a yoga teacher, right? Of course, I'm gonna say meditation is important, right?
Oh, scientific.
Where are the hard facts?
Yes.
Truly, in studies support this claim. So that's what I liked. It was all scientifically supported. It's gone through the process, the scientific process. So one of the first things that actually addressed at the beginning of the pandemic, and it wasn't intentional because this course has been at Yale for a long time. It's actually one of the most taken courses at Yale. It's the most popular course at Yale.
Oh, wow.
And so
good. I think it should be required for humanity probably.
Yes. So PNI, Psycho-Neuro-Immunology, one of the first concepts introduced, which is the effect of the mind on the body. It's the connection of the mind and body, and actually it's a study now. It is a study of the effect of our thoughts, our attitudes towards our health.
Yeah, like psycho-neuro-immunology, like our, it affects our immune system.
Exactly. So first concept is savoring, which is really closely connected to gratitude, which means basically savoring is noticing a moment. You can call that being mindful, right?
Being
If you
present. Yeah.
being mindful, being
Yeah.
aware,
Yeah.
it's reviewing and appreciating something that has happened or is happening right now
Yeah.
without the need of moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So, right, so I took the course at the beginning of spring, and I started to anxiety coming, from the pandemic. And
Mm-hmm.
my father was dying, and eventually he died as I was taking the course,
Mm.
which was crucial.
Oh, I bet.
It was crucial. I was
I
taking
bet.
it during this moment of
Oh,
losing a parent.
oh, well, my condolences and
You know.
blessing to have that opportunity to go
I
through.
don't believe in coincidences, so
Oh,
it worked out just perfectly.
yes.
Um,
Yes.
experiencing the loss throughout this
Mm.
was life changing.
Mhm.
So, from basically nurturing the habitual gratitude within yourself,
Mhm.
starting from saying thank you, waking up first thing in the morning, okay, thank you for this breath,
So into yourself saying thank you.
going into yourself, exactly, and developing eventually throughout the process of gratitude a state of mind where you see everything that happens as an opportunity for growth.
Wow. Yeah. Because whatever
Opportunity,
happens, you could see different ways.
right? It's seeing, allowing yourself to not knowing in the moment what
Mhm.
this is for, but trusting the process that throughout the time you will see why this thing had to happen at a specific time.
Right.
So habitual gratitude and savoring were the first concepts introduced. The Professor Santos, she introduces this fun fun thing called the annoying features of our mind, and there are a few of them
Mhm.
that sabotage our happiness.
Yes, and this is
Well,
just stuff because we have a human brain, right? It's not
exactly,
certain
monkey
people
brain.
that are weak or people that aren't
Mhm.
as evolved. I mean, this is how we've evolved.
This is how our monkey
Our
brains
normal brain, our monkey brain. Yes.
work.
And
Mhm.
understanding it is so helpful, right? Just so that we
Exactly.
know we're
Mhm.
not alone, we're not broken, nothing is wrong. We have this basic brain and then we can
Yeah.
evolve.
And one of the most annoying features is that often our strongest intuitions are wrong because it's
Oh,
our
wait, what?
monkey. Mhm. Wait. We feel that something is an intuition, but the
Oh,
intuition
okay.
comes from thoughts that come into our mind from our monkey brain, that came from our culture, they came from our past experiences, from our trauma, our
Yeah.
interpretation of trauma. So that's called the monkey brain. And we call that our intuition. Oh, I feel like it's this.
Yeah.
But do we really? In yoga, it's called vritti. It's the constant noise in our mind.
Mhm, that chatter.
Yes, exactly. And throughout this course, you receive tools to change your perspectives of what intuition is, change the
Mm.
perspectives on what really is important to you as a human,
Mhm.
scientifically proven, and how to quiet the monkey brain. You probably have an idea how that's done because it's also proven scientifically.
Well,
So,
yeah, and it's so interesting because so many things overlap, right? Like there's some basic fundamentals that you're like, oh, I've heard this before.
mhm,
Quieting
yeah,
the mind helps, you know,
right. I've heard that
taking
before.
care of the body helps.
Right, exactly. One of the weeks was focused on exercise and setting goals, and again scientifically proving the benefits of exercise, which has been done so many times. Like, yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yes, exactly. So most of the goals we humans think are important to us really are not important, right?
Mhm.
Getting the bigger house, getting more expensive clothes, you need to get that Gucci belt, right?
Then you'll feel happy, right?
There's a thing introduced in the course called the durability bias. We think that certain things will make us happy for a long time,
Mhm.
whether it's material things
Yeah.
or the really, really good things like finding the right match, finding the love of your life. Scientifically proven, within a year and a half, you get back to baseline. When it comes to actually material things, materialists have scientifically been proven to be less happy and are more prone to depression.
More prone to depression.
More prone to depression. Collecting things leads to depression. And
how empty it is more. But it's the same with everything, like compulsive eating and
exactly.
any void you're trying to fill.
We can talk for hours. I want to talk about so many things in this.
I really think we could.
Yeah.
I'll try to be quiet and let you talk then.
Right. Even when it comes to negative events like death of a loved one, we have this bias, durability bias in our brain. We think if this person who is the closest to us dies, now think, right? I will be destroyed forever.
Yeah. Like, how will I ever go on?
We think that certain events will impact us for much longer than they actually do, whether they are really positive or very negative. That eventually most of humans pretty much are kind of happy. They're kind of on the baseline and they're kind of pretty okay. They're pretty happy. And even after a really traumatic experiences, we eventually kind of live with that trauma, right? There's a whole thing about trauma, and I understand that.
We might have to do an episode just on that.
Right. We work with domestic abuse, so there is trauma. Even trauma doesn't live in a vacuum, right?
How could it?
There's life happening around trauma, within trauma, right? And so because of a feature of our mind called focalism, we focus only on that one bad thing. Right?
I feel like our brains are programmed for that too, right?
Exactly.
Like,
the monkey brain.
Yeah. The fight or flight. Like always on the lookout for what could
exactly. And that focalism is another trick our mind plays on us, thinking that certain things are so catastrophic we cannot overcome them, and that we will not again reach the baseline. We, as humans, are so resilient. We as humans can survive crazy things. Look at humanity.
Oh, right.
Here we are, again, being able to find amazing moments, even when we have had horrible things happen to us or experienced terrible experiences.
Right. And I think you talked about something when you told me about this course that was like just having that resilience within yourself, no matter what is going on, which reminded me, by the way, of yoga, right? Like that's the whole idea, is being in a very, physically maybe uncomfortable position, but still having that internal resilience.
Exactly.
Control.
Staying with it, leaning into it.
The presence.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So another concept, this is the focalism and durability bias. We think certain things will, whether it's happiness or good experience or sadness, we think they will last much longer than they do. You know that saying, it gets better? It does, right?
Yeah, that's interesting. With the happiness, I talk about that a lot, where allowing pleasure is so difficult for us. It's like, we're kind of programmed not to accept that happiness, because then we're letting our guard down. But it's good to remember the durability with the sadness too, that we're so more resilient than we think. And I think a lot of it too is that we think that emotions are so powerful over us and so devastating and will never end. And then, I think just learning that you can experience emotions, which is also being present, kind of feeling what they feel like in your body, and that really the worst that happens are emotions.
Right. Feeling is okay.
Yeah, feeling is okay. And accepting that as a human, you're not going to be happy all the time.
Right. Accepting all the emotions, feeling through them, and also learning skills to find joy and savoring and gratitude in the most difficult experiences.
Yes. Are there some certain skills then?
Yes. Oh my goodness. So many skills. So one thing is our minds have this feature is they get used to good things.
Right.
So you are in a horrible relationship, you're used to it eventually, right?
Yeah.
And then you leave, and then suddenly at first, oh my goodness, I am so thankful I'm out, right? And then you get used to it. And you look for something else to make you happy, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what that's called? That's called hedonic adaptation. We get used to it. Hedonic adaptation.
Yeah. So hedonic, like the just pleasures of life, like hedonism.
And you get this one thing. So at first, maybe you want to have a stable income. You get stable income. Maybe stable income feels like something else at first, and you get there. That's not really enough. I really also want this, and then you get used to that. This is good, but you know what? I see our neighbor has this. His house is bigger.
I want that.
I really want to get there. So that's one of the features of our mind. That's probably something we could do without, right? It's attached to wanting. Wanting what we think is something we want, but is not really something that will make us happy. It's you judge by a reference point, whether it's your neighbor's bigger house, whether it's your neighbor's Tesla, right? It is the miswanting, the caused by hedonic adaptation of already being used to what you have and wanting more.
So you just kind of realize that when you're having that desire or some jealousy, that this is normal for our brain. Are there specific tips for that too? Yeah.
Yes. So again, this is connected to impact bias. We think that having a bigger car will make you happier, or you think that having a bigger house will make you happier, but really, will it?
We have the same brain.
Right.
Even when we get
it has been proven and backed by science that investing in experiences is better and makes you happier than experiencing in objects. So I actually love experiences. I'm a sunset chaser. I love sunsets.
Oh,
I see a sunset, I'm like, this is magical. And I take a picture of it because taking a picture of it allows me to talk to somebody about it. I saw the best sunset and it was beautiful. That's actually a process of savoring. Tell somebody about it. And I took a photo of it, which makes the experience last longer. I take photos to capture experiences. And so, and I go through them. Oh, this made me so happy when this was happening. Guess what? It's bringing me happiness again.
Yes, you're feeling those neurochemicals.
Exactly. I took a photo and taking of the experience brought me joy later too. And really living your day as if it was your last. They say live every day as if it was your last. It's true.
Oh my gosh.
Avoiding social comparisons. Looking at social media, Instagram, and seeing this mom looks like this, and she does this with her kids, or especially for my teenage daughters, I do not want them to have Instagram, to start comparing somebody else's idea of a lifestyle or image that is really not a reality, right? And the social comparison leads to less happiness. And actually, this is really interesting. I'm reading from my notes from the course, and this quote from the professor just blew my mind. Okay, I'm gonna read it to you. For each hour a week of TV watching, people spend an average of $4 extra in household spendings.
Wow.
If you watch a show, and it doesn't even have to be commercials. You watch some lifestyle, you watch somebody else's life that they have, and you subconsciously, without realizing, compare. You go on the computer and you see something, an ad on Amazon, you click on it. Oh, this one.
Or it suggests it to you because it's just heard.
It reads your mind. It saw you watching Right?
Playing it, and then it pops up to you.
Oh, what a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
And so yes, just watching TV makes people spend more money.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that strange? And one of the other skills is spacing out good things. So
yeah, I like that.
yeah, so allowing to not maybe do all the amazing things on one day, but if you space out the one thing throughout the week, then you do something amazing every day of the week.
Ooh, have you been able to apply that? I'm trying to think of an example.
Yes, so music. I tend to get lost when I write music, and I could write for 6 hours in a day, be at the piano. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop where it feels really good. Like when you are in the flow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna continue tomorrow.
Oh, interesting.
And tomorrow also I get to do something I love doing.
Yeah, well, it makes sense if you have like one piece of chocolate cake versus the whole cake. Like, you know, there can be some things that are super pleasurable and exciting, and then, you know, you just,
I mean, you can take the cake and you can have a bite of the cake every day.
Oh, that's why what I do with cookies is like, I take like a quarter, I take a little bite, and then later,
right? You
actually another little bite.
You take a pleasurable experience and you make it last longer. Instead of just taking the whole bag of cookies and then eating all of them. And really, the pleasure comes with the first and second cookie, and then it doesn't feel good.
Right. Yeah. Too much is not really what we want. We think we want it sometimes, but
a cookie isn't bad, right? A cookie isn't bad.
Yeah.
Allowing yourself pleasure in moderation, spacing it out, I feel that makes all the difference.
Oh my gosh. And too, like you said, allowing yourself the pleasure, because you could eat a cookie with shame and not even taste it, and like not even, you know, not even enjoy it. Just be hating yourself the whole time you eat it. Different experience than if you taste it and savor it.
Exactly. Savoring it. Exactly.
You're present with it.
One of the things, taking that favorite food and just really allowing to smell it and taste it and mindfully experiencing the moment that you are in. Again, finding something, you can find something even when things are really, really hard. Right. Even if like, okay, I'm alive. I'm thankful for being alive. And part of the gratitude habits is writing in your gratitude journal. Finding something to be thankful for. 10 minutes a day of writing down the good things that happened that day.
So kind of writing like a journal.
Exactly, a journal entry.
I've heard of different things, you know, three things per day, you know, list one thing per day. Probably
just better.
You do. Yeah. Anything.
Stop to be thankful. And actually for me, I favor a lot because especially if there is the post-traumatic growth, right? Often.
Talk more about that.
Well, that's not from the course, but that's something I work with women who survive domestic abuse. And there's a choice. You always have a choice to stay in the victim mode or decide to grow. Choices, right? Of course, pain is real. You can experience pain and you can continue and you can move forward and you can thrive.
Oh, that's so interesting. So, you know, how do you do that? Do you just look for other things to occupy your mind, distract yourself?
Well, actually, in the course, it says diversify the things that you like to do. So you're tired of a thing. Explore things you love to do, experiences, and create experiences you look forward to. It's not external, right? You are in charge of how I feel. No, really, you have to proactively. Happiness is work.
Yes. Okay. Right.
It is conscious work.
Takes intent.
It's active. It's not passive.
Right.
You need to actively work towards happiness.
Yeah.
And it's not bad work. Savoring, I'm for it. But I also, when I find myself, okay, I'm not feeling an emotion, I'm feeling stuff coming out from the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the things that I absolutely loved is when you feel kind of unhappy in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, for example, you don't feel happy with your, you have a moment when you feel unhappy with your partner. You think you go back in time and you say, what would happen if I did not have this partner? I would have been here. I would have been experiencing this. This was my life.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have felt these feelings I have right now. And so that's also going back in time. Is
So
also
kind of reframing, well, maybe not reframing, kind of looking back and kind of like It's a Wonderful Life, that
Mhm.
Christmas movie.
Yes.
Where they go back and see, if he hadn't have been there, how other lives would have changed, or just being grateful for what you notice in the.
Exactly. Also, one of the things when we talk about social comparisons, comparing your life to somebody else, you perceive their life being better.
Mm-hmm.
Think, is it really?
Right.
Ask,
There's no possible way, right?
is it really better? It's just really your perception. The
Yeah.
social comparison is just a perception. We can watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't want their life.
Right. There's going to be 50-50.
Right.
Like
I bet they're really happy, and I really want them to be
yes.
happy. Really.
Yeah.
Actually, funny thing, there was a research done. It was actually done at Harvard. The base, there's the happiness doesn't go higher past certain income. $75,000.
What?
So it starts to get slightly higher towards, as you get towards $75,000 income. It doesn't get much higher the higher you get.
Oh, okay. So
that's the one thing the professor at Yale wanted to the students to remember. You are at Yale. Your grades aren't everything. Your grades are not happiness. And the massive career of success and what you are presented right here is not happiness.
Right.
Choose wisely. This was her thing. Choose wisely.
I think.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I think Jim Carrey said something like, I wish everyone could be rich and famous so they could find out that it's, not all that great.
Right, exactly. So you have the belief that you're smart, therefore you're going to be successful.
Yeah.
But really, she's kind of rewriting the story of what success is.
Yeah.
What is success?
The other thing I see people doing is comparing themselves and thinking like, well, my life isn't that bad. I shouldn't complain. And I think there's something to even just validating that it's okay to have pain too. Definitely, I see people thinking like, well, I had a pretty good childhood. I shouldn't complain.
Right. I think that's realizing that no matter what we really should not be judging other people and comparing ourselves to them. Even if their life seems amazing, they probably is not.
Right.
Or
like everyone is a human.
Emotional, there's mental, and again, riches does not equal to happiness.
Right. Unless under 75,000. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's really a state of mind, and
it makes sense though. And I'm sure it's like there are people below that level that are super happy, and on the average, like it makes sense if you get to a certain level, like some of your basic needs are taken care of.
Exactly. Once your basic needs are taken care of,
but past that, it's
allow yourself to thrive. Exactly. Acts of kindness, meditation at least 10 minutes a day.
Is there a certain way with meditation? I know there's so many kinds of meditation.
Yeah, it actually just basically tap on some of the basic, whether it's meditation on kindness, may this person be happy, may this person be healthy. If you don't feel positive emotions towards a person, sending happiness to with your thoughts towards a person, or just relaxing. There's different mindfulness techniques in the course. There is intuitive meditation, which is basically I like that because it doesn't tell you this is how you should meditate.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you find meditation within you. Whether it's
I love that.
whether it's meditating through painting through
Mm-hmm.
meditation, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
meditation through music, whether it's meditation through creativity,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's through being in Shavasana, in meditative state, laying down, that works, that is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
However, there isn't one size fits all in meditation. So
Yeah.
exploring what works for you, what makes you be within the flow, whether it's within the flow of your breath,
Mm-hmm.
or the flow of creativity,
Mm-hmm.
the flow of bliss.
Ah,
So,
it's being in the flow, trying to
mhm,
be in the flow as much as you can. I think some people think, well, what are you just gonna like float through your life? You're never gonna get anything done. That's airy fairy. But it's actually like your life becomes a lot easier, right?
right,
When you remove
exactly.
some of those obstacles to your happiness and you appreciate
Mhm,
what is there in front of you.
mhm.
And then it's like magic starts happening,
Right,
right?
right. When you, again, that's a savoring. This is when you can be happy. Really, I call the happiness savoring is happiness to me. Then
Yeah.
you can really find to be happy about anything in every moment, any moment.
Mhm.
Another thing I would like to touch on, I know we have to go quick, but is growth mindset. Growth mindset, basically knowing that your intelligence, your success isn't fixed, that there is always a time to grow, there's always a time to improve, that there's the resilience, the getting through things, the finding work that's also your calling,
Mhm.
find, finding um, things to do that give you joy,
Yes.
and being okay to move on and move forward from what you did, and just constantly being in the progressing forward mode. I think that was one of the things that
Mhm.
really stuck to me, to the growth mindset concept.
It's so important to your brain, right? To just
So
keep
much. Mhm.
developing and
It's a muscle. It's a muscle that
challenging.
keeps developing and growing and
Yeah.
creating more connections. And with that mindset, there's really, you really can't do anything with that. So
Yeah. Yep. It's all about the mindset for sure.
mhm.
Were
We
there
can do that
any,
forever.
I know, honestly, were there any other things you wanted to talk about from the course? Any other things we haven't hit on?
Yeah, like using your signature strengths in work at your job, or something that feels like a calling, reduces depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
I think that's why I love my job so much. I love my job.
Hmm.
Um,
You're passionate about it.
be challenged. I'm passionate about it. Again, if you feel challenged at a job,
Hmm.
that's so good for you. If it's just challenging enough that you want to grow forward,
Hmm.
not overwhelming, but challenging enough to just keep that drive in you,
Yes.
that leads to satisfaction and overall happiness.
Hmm.
Like you.
Yes. That makes sense.
Yes.
And our brains are made to constantly evolve, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
And that's how it wants to be. And when we get stuck and when we get stagnant and when we're not achieving things, I think that's where we start to have problems, and I think it affects our health.
Mhm. For sure. There is P&I, right?
Yes.
For neuroimmunology. It's all connected.
Yeah. And do they talk about how like thought patterns or emotions affect health?
Um, Gratitude gives people more energy. It's energizing.
Mm.
Um, it improves social connections to the people around you. So again, also leads more to more happiness.
Yeah.
Definitely, positive thought has been shown to improve health and vitality. So, for sure, yes,
In science, it's proven.
yes, science.
So there's one thing I want to circle back to because I'm super curious. I teach a lot about tuning into your body and
Mhm,
starting to learn to follow your own inner voice, your intuition. At the
mhm.
very beginning, when you were talking about, most of our intuition is wrong, but that being also the mental chatter, the monkey mind. What do you think about the intuition that isn't based from fear?
I think the intuition is really important when we recognize it. When we stop the monkey brain,
Hmm.
I think allowing ourselves to meditate,
Hmm.
And kind of within the meditation, really asking yourself, what is it that I want? What is it that I desire?
Mm-hmm.
Just allowing yourself to pause and take that time
Mm-hmm.
to not tell yourself you want something, or to not expect something of yourself that maybe is not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Allowing yourself the space. Again, nature is really, I connect to myself in nature the most.
Mm-hmm.
In meditation, slowing down the brain, slowing down the
Mm-hmm.
thinking, the garbage happening all the time.
Yeah.
I think once we practice meditation, we are more likely to recognize intuition from
Mm-hmm.
chatter, from the
Because I
weight.
think, I mean, I don't know if they talked about this. Is there such a thing as the intuition that is more of that calm knowing versus, my mind thinks I should do this? To me, the monkey mind seems more like it's coming
Right.
from
Yeah.
anxiety, worry,
It
fear.
is intuitive for us to search for happiness outside of material things.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind wants to look for meaning somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Our mind wants to find happiness and joy in the things that really do matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I liked that in the course, it was lectures with students that go to Yale, so they're really young, they're kids.
Yeah.
And so when you look at, and us having the experience from being older,
Mm-hmm.
some things are intuitive to us, right?
Yeah.
But intuition also comes with age and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing the students' questions and inputs, they're smart kids. Were they taught to have intuition or find their intuition? No. They were taught how to be really good at school.
Yeah.
Grades are everything, but
Yeah. There's
um,
book smart.
and hello, and when she said your grades mean nothing really to your happiness, they were like, oh, we are at Yale. Like, yeah, but really, your
Yeah.
grades will only make you happy for a few days, but then you'll move on. Durability bias. You think this is going to make you feel happy for a really long time, couple of days.
Yeah. Right. It's not the things, it's the internal work that makes all the difference.
Yes.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing all of that information.
It was so fun.
We could go into so much more.
I know, we could go forever.
We really could, but I think that was a good start. Thank you so much for being willing to come on the show, talking to us. And it was that was so fun.
It was fun. Yay.
Thank you so much for listening. I hope you learned a little bit about your brain today that helps you in your life like it helped me. Please be sure and subscribe and leave a review. And of course, be sure and share this podcast with someone you know that wants an unstoppable body and mind.